Alright. I need to get up the actual qualifying results very quickly. Those who are not aware. Yep. Right. Qualifying results are up. I know where I'm going with these now. Just should have everything set up. Hello, Jezza. Hello. It's my voice. Can you hear nice and clearly? Just before we get everything sorted out. Should be pretty good to go. But give it a minute or two, let a couple other people, see if people start to join this stream. And then we will go properly. Hopefully get a couple of more people in before we start to go for real. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was expecting a ton of things, right? What are you doing, dude? What are you up to? Pyro the 7th. Jesus Christ. There's always one, isn't there? Always one. How's everyone doing? Always one. God damn it. There is a possibility of this turning into a double. I might also do spec, depending on how my voice takes this. But I'll start up a different stream immediately after if I am going to do that. But as for now, tier 4 comms are the way to go. I think we've had a couple of minutes, so I think it's about time we get properly going with this. Gonna do. Someone's got yellow ABS on. Alright. Gonna go from the front to the back. Go through qualifying times first before we get this race underway. You already see 3 red lights on my screen. May or may not have messed that up a little bit. But, so, tier 4, the old stomping ground, shall I say, for some of us, returning here. I used to be here in this tier last season. Like a few of the guys that are racing, remember a few of the names. Let's see how they're going to fare this time round. So, Paul, Colin Fern is not a name I expected to be there, admittedly. In the Super's a good car, but it's not a name I expected to be there. He did a 45.016, which pretty much matches what I did in tier 3, actually. And that is Paul in tier 4. 45.2, you got Watkins in second place, sitting on the front row alongside him. 45.3, another further 10th back is JMS. He was getting a lot better toward the end of last season, but we'll see if he can continue that on. Jin is 4th, ever so slightly, shall I say, back from JMS. They both sit themselves on the second row. You've got Irvin, or Brian's Racing GT, as he's changed his name to, sitting himself in 5th with Kakurai, sat himself in 6th position. You've got Orak and Charizard sitting themselves on the 4th row. And then you've got Kuch and Klaus, 9th and 10th on the 5th row. Juho and Jeddah sitting themselves on the 6th row, nice and tight there. Juho reigning tier 5 champion, of course. You know, Fracas also a promoted tier 5 driver in 13th. Moose, who was a race winner in this tier last season, I expected more from him in 14th. Amy in 15th. And actually gonna have to take a look. Not a name I recognize putting himself in. Oh, it's Monty. Right. Now that I'm caught up, Monty, the host of this particular tier, sits himself at the back of the grid. And now we're caught up with this. I think it's about time we get this going. There's 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, away we go. I think someone may have jumped the grid a little bit back there. We're going down into turn 1 now, and JMS and Wack jump cutting Fern off the start immediately. It looks like JMS has got himself into the lead. We've got a little bit of a three-way in the midfield. Alright, gets himself up into 4th. Jin 5th, Andy in 6th. Brian's also losing out to the Gen X, who decided to drive without a livery this time. As we head up through turn 3 and down to turn 4. Might have to turn the game volume down. Yeah. We go through the first chicane, a little bit of contact coming through the middle here. It looks like everyone still managed to get through this safely at this point in time. Can turn the music off, yeah, I agree. Let me quickly jump out of this. Need that comment to go. Gonna have to adjust the sound here. Turn it down a ton. Music should not. There you go. Music is off. Turn everything all the way down. Broadcast mode is on as well. I think that should be fine. I'll change everything again later on. Right, here we go again. We get to do this all the way from the start, and we do this properly this time. Here we go, straight to the front. And it's lights out, away we go again. Do this properly this time, and JMS did actually get one hell of a start there. And he goes well into turn 1, well in the front. It also looks like someone had an actual massive hit back there. I think Charizard was involved. And so was Claude in the red. I think that's a super there. No, it's actually GTR, wrong one. As we go through down towards turn 4, go back to the middle of the pack. Claude versus Irvin again. That's Claude versus Irvin as they head up into the chicane. We're actually going to continue to watch this 3 wide, or 2 sets of 2 wide even, as Claude gets himself in front of Irvin. We'll move further up the grid now. Watch Watt Jansen Cutting Fern go at each other through the long right-hander. It looks like the Supra is going to lose out. That's a late break there from Wack Jamps. He gets it a little bit wrong, a little bit too deep, maybe a little bit of tyre saving as well. We see that, well, I'm assuming we'll see a lot of that being prevalent in this race. Aurak getting himself up to 4th, which is rather impressive considering he had an absolute horrid time in the Mazda this time last season. You've got Wack Jamps looking back towards 2nd place as they head up into the final sector for the first time in this race. It doesn't look like Wack Jamps is able to do anything. Go down the grid, we got a 4 or 5 car train as we head through the beginning of the 3rd sector. Oh, that did not look great from Evan. He looks a little bit out of sorts. His teammate's going to come after him now. Charizard goes around the outside. And that means Charizard's going to take 8th position. We've got a little bit of infighting going on so far, and no real attempts to move at the back of the grid just yet. And it looks like Amy might have a pretty good run as we head down towards the 1st corner, the end of the 1st lap. And still, there you go, Amy on the outside. Is that Moose? No, that's not. That's Fracas in front of him. There's Fracas that's going to hold on to the position barely, but does actually hold on. The RCZ in front doing just about enough. And going forward, Kakurai in the Supra against the GTR, and also Jin trying to get himself alongside Aurak. Will do a little bit. Are they going to make it through here safe? No, it's going to be Jin that backs out. Also gets a little bit of a tap there. I think that was Kakurai behind him. Give him a little bit of a tap. It's going to take that position off him too. And Jin gets himself a half-second penalty in the process. I don't think he's going to be too happy with that one. Oh, Jin's got off! Jin's got off! That's the wall, mate. You don't want to be hitting that. That's a lot of the wall, a lot of the grass. Oh, it looks like someone else is following him too. And Jin is all over the place. It was Moose King that followed him off the track. He picked up half a second too. Now going to go on the inside of Jezza. And Jezza is probably going to hold that, especially with the half spin coming out of the end of the second sector from Moose King there. Spending a ton of time down the bottom here, and it looked like we had, I think that might have been both the Genesis fighting, going through the first corner in Sector 3. You don't want to see that too much, but they've been going at it hammer and tongue the entire race. I don't think Urban wants to be touching too much of that grass either. It's probably a one-way ticket to getting yourself in a wall. Super up there. Kakurai also finding a little bit of the grass on the inside of the final corner, and that's a wall. You don't want to be hitting that too many times. We go down towards turn 1. Can Claus hold on from Kakurai? Yes, he can. GT doesn't give you an actual split to the lead. I think we can see in the foreground, second and third are starting to go at it, but first is very much clear. We go up through turn 3 now. And now up the straight, one of the main straights here at Watkins Glen. Aurak versus Claus. Claus on the outside of the chicane here. Is he going to be able to make it? No, he doesn't go for it. And Aurak is going to hold on for a little while longer. I think Kakurai might try and get himself into this mix too. And he is going to try and get himself into this mix, but he goes a bit deep down the right-hander, and when you go deep, you're not really going to be able to see an awful lot change there. It looks like Claus might have the inside line here against Aurak, and Aurak closes the door very, very quickly. Doesn't look like an awful lot of tire saving going on in the group as of right now, and Kakurai just about holding on to the edge of the track. We've still got JMS in the lead, and we've got looking Kakurai on Claus. He's been looking the entire lap, and I don't think you're going to be in too good of a place there, Claus. If you're going to hit the grass on the inside there, that might open the door. Not aptly taken, however, from Kakurai in 6th place right now. We'll continue to follow this battle. It's the closest battle I can see on the grid as of yet. No one spinning, no real sort of incidents as of right now, apart from the Jin one earlier on where he decided that wall riding would be a good idea around here. Down the straight, doesn't look like an awful lot is going to happen. Claus getting close enough. Well, getting close, but not close enough. Here to Aurak going into turn 1. Maybe Aurak doesn't have the exit speed. He definitely doesn't have the exit speed, and it looks like we might get a good shot here from Claus against Aurak as he goes up the heading into the chicane again. This is the 3rd lap straight. We've seen Claus attempt something, but not really been able to pull it off, and again just backs out early and gets the run through the bus stop chicane here at Watkins Glen, and so does Kakurai in that super behind, who's absolutely loving life going through that chicane. A little bit deep there from Claude. That might be a penalty as he looks to go to the inside. Will go to the inside. A little bit of contact. Nothing wrong with the amount of contact between the two, but it looks like Claude has got a nice little run through the corner, but not a great exit, as he's going to have to take the outside line now against Aurak, who shoves him extremely wide. Just about keeps the car on track, but gets the move here against Aurak, and that is 4th for Claude at the moment. We're going to take a little bit of a look further up the grid. It looks like JMS players is a little bit ahead of Wack and the McLaren, as they got maybe about a second half gap split in the two. Cunningham in 3rd, and you've got Claus, who's just broke away from Andy, who managed to get past Aurak, who's also lost his position of Charizard in that 3rd sector. I don't think he's going to be too happy with that one. I think Kakurai's gone a little bit wide. He's got too much of the grass. He's also got a second penalty. Oh, that looks like a Peugeot smacked the wall back there. You don't want to be doing that too often. You're going to be fine though. It won't lose him a position just yet. Yeah, so Kakurai with a penalty on getting on the grass on the outside, and that's not what you want to see. And Charizard versus Aurak as we go down through turn 3, and keep an eye out on the rest of the grid. Everyone doesn't seem to be as close as the middle of the pack here. Aurak's got the speed. Can he get himself alongside? He will pull himself alongside. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. And he got it. That is a good move. That's a very good move. on Orak in the FT1. Well, from Orak in the FT1 on Charizard in the Gen X, who's not really able to fight that back immediately. He will try and switch, go to the inside, doesn't get that either. And so we're going to continue to look down the grid, nothing happening in around the 9th or 10th, but we've got a train of drivers coming from 11th back, all the way to the back of the grid. Actually, there's about 5 or 6 cars going through this, going through the motions. We're on lap 5 of what should be 9. Oh, that did not look great for Jin again. This championship contender for a couple of seasons back is not having a nice day of this at all in this sprint race. And it doesn't look like an awful lot's going to happen down in the backfield at all. We're going to go further up the grid, and we are very much in an Orak train right now. We've got a 5-car pilot behind him. Orak in 5th, Claude in 6th, Irvin in 7th, and you've got Kakurai after his penalty, dropped him to 8th. And they're going to head all the way down the straight now, down towards turn 1. Nothing happening between Orak and Claude. We've seen these two go at it a few times already this race, and they look like they might be about to go at it once more. Down the inside of 2, it doesn't look like he's managed to get himself alongside enough yet through 3. And it's definitely not through 4, and we're going to go up towards the chicane, and maybe the Gen X might be going for this. We're on lap 6 now. And behind us, there goes the Gen X with the use of the slipstream. They're going to go side by side through the chicane, and Claude is going to hold on. And he just about holds on. And then Irvin also going after, holding on against Kakurai, who's going after him right now as well. You've got Fracas directly behind these two. And yeah, going through the big middle of the second sector. Now this is the track that could be considered the most fun. Oh, it looks like someone spun! It looks like Fracas may have spun there. We're going to go back 10 seconds and get a good look at that. Let's have a look. Let's see what this is like from Fracas's point of view. He's going to go round this corner, the long right-hander up the hill. He touched too much of the curb. He's touched way too much of that inside curb. And he has spun that car there. And ghosting, oh, straight to the wall as well. That is not good news for Fracas there. It also looked like Jin had a bit of a penalty going through that second sector, and he's dropped himself to 15th, Monty up to 14th. And Juho 13th, Moose King on the back of Amy right now in 12th and 11th respectively. Kuchin 10th, Jez is up to 9th at the moment after his poor starting position. We're going further up the grid now. Kakurai, after his penalty, loosening his grip on the top half of this race. He is right at the back of this top half pack though. As we're heading into lap 7 now. Irvin, who might go a little deep, might suffer a little bit of consequence for that. I think he might be on the receiving end of a penalty if he's managed to, well, unless he's managed to save it, and it looked like he has managed to save that. Just about. It did look like all 4 tires were off of that curve for a split second. We go further up the grid. Claude's not close enough to Orak, who's not close enough to Charizard, and then Cunning Fern all the way through into the right-hander right now behind Whack Jamps, who is right behind JMS Blades. That looks like a 2 or 3 second gap though, and it looks like one that JMS should be able to sustain given the fact that we're probably 2 laps from the end. It looks like that McLaren's tyres are starting to wear off a little bit more than you would expect. JMS right now 45.1 his best lap, but 45.0 from Watt Jamps is currently the best lap of this race so far. Again, we're just taking a quick look at the front of this grid. The 3 very much clear. 1, 2, 3 are absolutely in the distance. JMS, you don't want to be doing that. Oh, and Watt Jamps forward and behind. You don't want to be doing that. That is going to bring Cunning Fern back into this. That is a that might be a costly mistake from Watt Jamps in the end. It makes JMS's version of the same mistake null and void. He He's going to get away with one there. They go both getting brought back into Cunningham's reach though. Charizard well ahead of Claus in 5th, Orak in 6th, who got overtaken during that lap. And is holding on to 6th right now. Irvin behind. We might have a look here between the Porsche and Kakarai in the Supra. It looks like that Supra's tired of gone. That Supra needs to, I think Kakarai needs to invest some time into a little bit of tyre saving. The Supra would love him for doing so. It's 46ers so far, only good enough for 8th. He did get a penalty in the middle of the race. That looked like a corner cut there. That might be followed with a penalty too. The car in front also did the same thing. They're both surviving without a penalty as of yet, but it looks like that Porsche has tyres. That Porsche had a lot of tyres. That Porsche had a ton of tyres left on that car. The front left is what we're looking at. The rear left actually looks like is what getting more worn in this Porsche. As we go through this race, he might have a good go here at Kakarai for 8th. Chooses not to go up the hill. Is he going to be able to get it down into the into the end of this straight? No, he is not. And the Porsche is going to have to try something new here, and it looks like Claus versus Orak again, and Claus has a 2.5 penalty, and that is going to harm everything he's trying to do. Orak gets that position back. And you don't want to be doing that very often, or that might be adding to it. Looks like Claude. Yeah, Claude is struggling with his tyres right now, and here comes Irvin on the inside, and that is a nice run from Irvin, and he got that very nicely down towards turn 1. It looks like Claude is quite literally all over the place. We might have a good go here from Jezza, who did eventually get past Andy in the last lap. We're on effectively the last lap of the race now, 13 seconds until the 15 minutes are up. So this is the last lap, last 9 of 9 for this sprint race. It doesn't look like an awful lot is going to happen through this middle sector right now. Claus has his penalty, obviously. We're now into final lap territory. We might have a good look at the front of this race. We are actually going to do that now, because JMS is getting caught up quite rapidly by Wack, who's got 2.5 seconds worth of penalties, and any chance he had of the win just fell down the drain. It might be even possible that Cunning actually gets himself involved in this. We're going to go back to the fight in the middle of the pack, as Claus is going to have to serve his penalty, and there goes Kakarai, and there goes Jeddah too. And I think Amy might be a bit too far back realistically to do anything from here. We go through the final corner, and he may have got saved by a penalty in the end. But this first race of the season, the first sprint race of the season around Watkins Glen, goes to the Peugeot, goes to the RCZ, goes to JMS, who wins quite convincingly in the end. It doesn't tell the story of the race, albeit he was in the lead from the start. Was all but getting challenged at the end by that McLaren. Just about makes it work. Korak gets 5th. Brian gets 6th. Jeddah gets 7th. The game's going to spaz out a little bit here. Andy gets 8th. Claude gets 9th in the end. Amy gets 10th. Kuch gets 11th. And it looks like Juho gets 12th in the end. The McLaren's down. And there you go. Well, that is the end of the sprint race there. Full of action. The 2.5 second penalties at the end for Wack Jamps may have just shot himself in the foot in the end there. We're going to have a very quick search to try and find out. Well, try and find the feature for this particular race. That's the UK, not the United States. Don't mind me. Yeah, that looked like a pretty good first race of the season, and I know JMS had his days, right? He had definitely had his days last time round. In Tier 4 when we were there, obviously me, Perry, Reno had a little bit too much speed and have been rightfully promoted. He definitely had his day in Fuji, I'll say that much. He had a couple other good races too, but he's come out firing this time. Wins the first sprint race of the season. Looking to make it 2 from 2 on the day. He can get a clean sweep of the first race of the season. That would, I think he would be extremely happy with that. I'm very quickly just going to load up the Tier 4 chat as we go along. See if anything has happened in there. But we're looking at what is going on. We're just about ahead. Ah, well. Saw a glimmer of something in this nature in the chat on Monday night. It looked like Monty may have put a standing start with the full start check on again for the second race. But for now, before we get going, you got any predictions on who's... Well, obviously the Tier 4 guys will know. Anyone outside of Tier 4 watching, anyone got any predictions on how this one ends? Because right now, reverse grid, obviously, from how the sprint ends. Fracas starts on top. We've got Monty in second. What does that mean? What did I miss? I must have missed something there. Oh my god. Every single thing is a server that servers are down meme. That's all it is. Yeah, so we got Fracas and we've got Monty on the front row. The McLaren really not doing anything. I'm surprised Monty in this McLaren just couldn't get it going in the first race. Moose in second, on the second row, starts his feature in third. Jin on fourth on the medium tyres, just caught up to the stream. Fair play. So, also medium tyres on both Fracas and Moose. Softs for the McLaren. So, mediums for Jin, starts fourth. Juho on the mediums too, and it looks like the entire tier, outside of one person, Monty has decided that the soft tyres, well, the medium tyres, is the way to go to start. Kuch in 6th, Amy in 7th, Claude in 10th, in 8th, sorry. Kakarai in 9th on the soft tyres is an interesting choice of strategy. Mediums for Jezu starts 10th, Irvin starting on the mediums in 11th, Forak in 12th on the mediums. Mediums for basically every other car on the grid apart from Kakarai and Monty. And I think everyone's ready to go. Let's go for the feature race then. So 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, away we go for the second race here in Tier 4. And it doesn't look like a great start for the RCZ again. As we go down into turn 1, and it looks like we might have a free wide going down into turn 1. Monty has just not got the start whatsoever, and there goes Juho and Jin on him. It might open the door here for Claude as well, who's jumped up to 6, who's gone along the inside of Monty. And Monty is just dropping all the way down, even though he's on soft tyres to start with. You don't want to be doing that. It looks like Kuch is on the inside here against, I think that might be Amy. Yeah, it is Amy. We're going to go plenty wide here. We've got a free wide going into the chicane right now, and it looks like Kuch actually backed out. And Amy stayed in front. Jin down to 5th. Monty back up to 4th. Claude sticking at the moment in 3rd. The two guys at the front of this race going after each other, both on the medium tyres. Going to quickly watch the front two in this race. There goes Moose on the inside, and Moose gets the lead of this race with a nice little move on the inside there. Well, it looks like someone has had a bit of a nightmare. It looks like that is Amy, so we're gonna take a pretty good look at what happened on the inside here. Then we're gonna have a pretty good look at what happens, and might be a half spin a little bit further back. Oh! Oh, that's Jin. Jin gets it all wrong and straight into the side of Amy. And now Jin again on the inside tapping a yellow card. Oh my god, it's chaos. It's absolute chaos. I've lost track of how many cards are involved. Jin starts them both. We've got a little bit of a fight going, triple threat going in at the back here. And it looks like Korak against Kakurai. Kakurai on the soft tires also not sticking it anywhere important. And Korak is going to have the outside. That was absolute chaos. Jin all over the place. I don't think it is. I think it's the 18 you're seeing right now. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, that did not look good. JMS has managed to save that though. He has managed, yeah, it's just the regular Super. JMS has managed to save that somehow as we head down towards turn 1 on lap 2 of the 40-minute race here. Down the inside, it looked like Korak was looking for something here against Watkins, who is also quite frankly all over the place and not having a good go at this in the McLaren. So, chaos. Jin making a mistake in sector 2 there, wiping Amy off the track, and then doing the exact same thing a corner later was ended up being a 4 or 5 car tussle in the end. So we're going to watch a little bit further forward, side by side into the chicane. Oh, Jin got that wrong. Jin got it wrong, all wrong in that chicane, and he's in the grass again. And loses another position. Here I was thinking you could... I already had one person ask not to watch him in this race. That's true. I have turned my mic down, which is even worse. As we go through the second sector, lap 2, Whack Jumps maybe having a little look on the outside of Jin here. Got a little bit of a fight going up in the foreground too. And it doesn't look like anything's going to happen there, but it does look like we're going to have a Whack Jumps versus Jin, and it's going to be Whack on the inside. And Whack has got that on, got that position there, moved up to 11th, and it looked like the Super here against Moose, who must have had something go very wrong to drop from 1st to 7th so quickly. We go down the long straight down into turn 1. Here comes Kakurai on Moose again. On the inside this time. Can he get it done? He's going to have the inside line. Moose is going to be respectful. Moose is going to lose that position as a result. Definitely a good run there from Kakurai, who might be able to go after the Gen X immediately. And we're going to continue watching this. See if he is able to capitalize on his run through against the Gen X. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We are going to switch to the cars behind then. It looks like Charizard's delivery actually functions now. No real overtakes happening in the midfield here. Apart from Whack Jumps, who's got an incredibly good run against Charizard. Trying to make it work on the outside, but couldn't get it round. He's just got to settle for a little bit longer here. It doesn't look like a lot is going to happen in terms of an overtake here. As we go, oh, that looked like a little bit of a touch further back, and whoa, that's everything's happening here. We're going to get a good look at this one first before we can go very quickly up to, I think it's Fracas. Oh, that did not look great. Both of them went wide, and it looked like Fracas. We're just going to have a quick 10-second rewind here to have a look at Fracas down the straight too. He got on the grass. Multiple people on the grass on the outside there. Oh! He come off worse. The collision, I think that was with Monty. I don't think, yeah, Fracas is not having a great day at all. Penalties here for Jin again. It looks like we're going to go a little bit further up, and White Jumps is going to go on the inside of Kakurai. And gets it on the outside now through the following corner. Can he make it stick? He is still alongside. Also got a long side battle between Charizard and Moose in front of us, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get that to stick. Moose, however, able to stay in front of Charizard as well. I think that was actually an overtake for 6th place in this race, as we're going to head right back down towards turn 1, and this time it's Brian versus versus Monty, and Monty got the inside line in the McLaren here. He definitely should be having a better run on the soft tyres too. He's got a lot of grass on the inside there. I don't think you want to be doing that too often. Oh, that, as he almost had a little bit of a game with Barrier. We're going to go a little bit further back. Charizard versus Moose, round 15. It's actually happening down into the chicane, and it doesn't really pay off for Charizard this time. He's going to be in the clutches of Kakarai as we watch Wack versus Jin, and Kakarai also taking place behind that little group of cars. As of right now, Claus hits the lead of this race. The majority of the battles happening in the midfield. It looks like maybe Jin, with his penalty, is going to have a go at White Jumps, and it didn't look like he was able to do an awful lot in the end. His 1.5 second penalty probably going to drop him all the way back behind Cunning Fern. We're going to take a look at the front of the race for a minute. Haven't been here in a while, and we've got Claude versus Kutch as they go through the third to last corner on the lap. 46.9 so far, the fastest lap. In this one from Claude, you got Kutch 44, 46.6 on the medium tyre behind as well. So you head down into lap 5 and 46.1 there. For Kutch is the fastest lap in this race so far. You've got Jeddu's clear, 1.5 second for Brian in 4th. That will probably drop him at least 1 position, if not more. You've got Monty, who's currently in 5th, and a little bit of a battle going on between Charizard and Moose King yet again. It looks like actually Kakarai might be looking to involve himself in this battle too. And it looks like Charizard has got himself in front, and Kakarai has in fact got himself in front of Moose, who might be at the mercy of JMS here. And JMS decides not to go for it, which might be smart in this chicane, knowing that Moose also has a penalty and just playing the long game at this point in time. In the background, we've got Wack Jumps versus Orak, and Wack is in 10th, not really be able to capitalize on a lot of anything right now. These two ended 1-2 in the sprint race. They're trying to make their way through the grid here in the feature. Right now, it doesn't look like it's happening very quickly. We're going to look further up the grid. Moose has a penalty. He'll drop off the back here. He comes off the racing line to serve it. So, oh, it looks like someone... Oh, yeah, also Irvin had a penalty. He drops off to 7th. Here comes Kakarai on the outside, trying against Charizard, but might be going against his teammate instead if you're making mistakes like that. And Kakarai just about survives in the end. We've got a long train forming here, and I think it's all at the back of Monty. Especially at the back of Charizard. All the different trains forming here. Oh, it looks like Claude of the way. Half-second penalty right now for Kutch. And you want to be doing an awful lot of that. Tyres obviously will become a huge thing by the end of this one. It looks like teammates are about to go into battle sooner rather than later here. They're going to continue to take a look in the midfield as we see Charizard here on the inside of Monty. And Monty is just not doing an awful lot of anything. And arguably the most OP car on the game at the moment, especially for this calendar anyway. Tyres are necessary, especially the first 2 races. Here comes Kakarai on Charizard. Kakarai's got the speed down the straight, being in a Supra, and he's going to have the braking as well. And he's going to have that position. Nice 4th place there for Kakarai at the moment. And it looks like Charizard might be at the mercy of his own teammate. Here comes Brian. Maybe they're looking to do something as well. Monty losing out again. And JMS has got past, and maybe looking for Orak on the inside as well. Orak into 8th over Monty, and Monty is just going to get out of the way of his teammate by the looks of things. Actually, he's not. He's going to close the... Oh, something's happened here. That looked like a little bit of a spin there for Brian. He did not look too good coming out of that the end of that second sector. Also someone having a penalty in the back there. Orak on the inside, not going to be able to do anything. It looks like Wack Jumps with the one losing out mostly. And here comes Monty against Brian. Brian obviously having the mistake on the lap prior, well, on half the lap prior. And he's been overtaken by Monty too now. As we've got Cunning Fern looking to also try something here. Oh, and Brian is just all over the place. The warm tires not doing him any favours as Monty. We're actually going to do that. We're going to get a proper look at Monty's spin here. Monty, yeah, too much grass. Too much grass on the outside of the final corner. You do not want to be doing that. Monty needs to find a stride. He needs to find it quickly. As we're going to try and find a little bit more battle here. Here comes Wack Jumps on the inside of Brian. And gets the move on the inside of Brian, who's got another second penalty. It also looks like Cunning Fern in front of these two, trying to hold on as well. McLaren will be nicer on tyres than the rest of the cars around him, that's for sure. As we go down the straight now, Wack Jumps versus Brian. Brian's going to be on the inside. They're going to go too wide into the chicane, I think. And Brian is actually going to back out. He's got a good run out of the chicane though. Backed out of the original move. Maybe a good strategy decision in the end. Not a good enough one to make a move stick. Wack doing just about enough. But we're going to go a bit further up the grid now and see what is happening in the midfield. It looked like Kakarai going after Kutch, who lost his battle with his teammate earlier on in this race and is now going to lose the battle with the Supra. As Kakarai now enters the top 3, but he is on the softs and will have to pit way before everyone else as Charizard looks to the outside of Kutch and not able to make anything stick. JMS on the back of this little pack, also trying to make his way through the group. It also didn't look like an awful lot was going well there for JMS. Also didn't look great for Brian coming out of the third to last either, as we're going to watch into the final corner now. No one going to the outside to the grass there. We've seen a couple of spins in the final corner. Not happening this time. We're going down towards turn 1. Here comes Charizard on Kutch. Charizard looking to the inside. We know he likes to make those moves, but not this time, as he might then open himself up to a move from the Peugeot behind. It's all about this part of the track is all about the straight line speed you can get, the top speed of your car. If your top speed is good, you might be able to open the door or two here. Oh, that looked like a little bit of a squeeze there from Charizard. He just did not know that JMS was there on the outside of that chicane at all. You need to be a little bit more observant than that. Could have caused something horrific at the end of the day there. And as a result, no one's going to be able to make any sort of moves into the middle of the second sector. Further up the grid, we've got a penalty here for Kakarai, and that is not good news for him. He's on soft. He also has no tyres now, so he is going to drop himself all the way back at this rate. And we've got Claus, who is... wow! Claus is gone. Claus is gone. He is so far in the distance. Jedza has a little bit of a gap. You see the cars peering into the distance behind us now. But Claus is a turn, 2 turns even around Watkins Glen up right now, and that is a huge deal. Kutch gets himself back up to third, and you've got Charizard. And then Andy, after his second penalty, sits himself in fifth. Needs to fight his way back now, but his Supra has no tyres, and he's going to go and try and do a 9th lap. I'm not sure how wise this is with his tyres, but we'll wait and see. Here comes JMS on the inside, who has tyres, has half a tyre on his medium tyre left. And surprisingly doesn't go for a move there, but that's because he's going to get a better exit out of turn 1. Very, very easily getting a better exit out of turn 1. Should have the Supra's number here. Supra gets himself on the grass, not going to help. And JMS up to 5th against Andy in 6th now. Kind of burn directly behind this. It's smart enough to be on the medium tyres for now and on lap 9. Oh, we've got a triple threat going on here. Here comes Wack Jumps alongside Brian and Orak. It looks like Brian's going to be able to hold on for a little bit longer. Up to 8th he goes. Orak in 9th. Wack Jumps in 10th, and Wack has just not been able to progress himself through the field at all, and the McLarens are not having a good day. Threw away a potential win against JMS in the first race after that 2.5 second penalty. Really put a dent in it in the end. But now he's just not finding his feet, just not finding any sort of positions whatsoever as we watch them go through the end of the second sector on lap 9. All three of these on medium tyres. You could say the McLarens are down, yeah, you definitely could say that as all that goes up the inside of Brian, and that's going to open the door for Wack Jamps too. It looks like Wack Jamps managed to get that done on the inside of the prior corner, but he's going deep, he's going very deep, and gives that position straight back. It doesn't look like an awful lot's going to be able to happen down this straight. You don't want to be doing that as Wack just barrels straight into a wall, picking up damage on his front left. And also to his bumper as well. He just lost a ton of time off of that mistake on its own. Oh, that did not look good for Brian there. On the exit of turn 1, I think he tried to save it from a penalty. Now Wack jumped with damage and the grass on the inside of turn 2, trying to get himself past the Gen X, and it's just not going to happen. We're on lap 10. I can only assume a pit stop has been taken now from Kakurai. And Claude is 15 seconds away from... Yeah, he's very much in the distance then. He's not on the softs either. He's on the medium tyre, so he should be the key word. See this one out from here. Aero just standing in front of Brian right now, is just holding on. Colin Fern's got a half-second penalty. We're going to continue to look further up the grid, see if anything is happening here. JMS got himself up to 4th as we go along. Jezza, yeah, very just arm and a leg behind Claude at the moment, who that GTR is in absolute control. It didn't look too great there for JMS. Has decided the grass is probably a good thing for his back tyre. Don't want to be doing that too often. And it looks like Kuch is going to have a good go at this one. They're going to go through the final corner. Is he going to be able to do anything here, Kuch, against JMS? He probably has the straight line speed, but he isn't going to be close enough while we head into turn 1. Get a better exit out of turn 1, he might have a good shot, but he is going to get a better exit out of turn 1. That might be a penalty there from JMS. That looks very deep, and it is. It's 1.5. It's 1.5 seconds. That is a very costly mistake on the outside there. And he's going to open the door as well. Here comes Kuch. He's going to go down the inside. They head toward the chicane. Peugeot having some sort of straight line speed is not a sentence I thought I'd say. But he had lost the position on the inside there to Kuch for 4th. We head down the grid. See what's going on. And it looks like Brian's lost his position to Wack Jamps during all of this. As we're on lap 11, looks like Juho has tacked himself onto the back of this four-man pack. And Norak is doing a relatively good job at holding off Wack Jamps. Guy came second in the sprint race earlier on. Got a pretty close battle here. Don't think him and Orak is going to do anything as we just very quickly shift to the front, and JMS's penalty drops him behind Kakurai. And into a super sandwich, shall we say. Kind of Inferno also not really doing... Oh, Kakurai goes deep. Kakurai goes deep, and that allows for JMS to just glide on through. That's a mistake you probably don't want to be making. Kakurai has to be pitting. We're on lap 11. Surely, I am... Oh, yep, that's 3 seconds. That's definitely 3 seconds. I think he has forgotten that the pit lane exists. He does, in fact, go in for his pit stop now. I'm not entirely sure why he did 11 laps on the soft tyre. That might be a mistaken strategy. Oh, so Brian against Juho there, and Brian is not going to go very far if he keeps half spinning like that in turn 1. And Juho does eventually get by in that FD1. Haven't said Jin's name in a while. So I'd go and have a look and see what he's doing. And it turns out, not a lot. Apart from hitting the grass on the inside of the second bar of the chicane, as we quickly, ever so quickly, go back to take a look at Brian versus Juho, which isn't going to do very much. Also, Brian's front left is in the bin. Also, a second penalty for Amy. Fracker's quite the distance back, not going to be able to take advantage. Moose getting, oh, that's deep, mate. That's not the track. Moose has started off extremely well, but straight to the back. We got a bit of a battle forming here. That JMS plate, what has happened to him? What has happened to him? Dropping all the way back. We're not going to go back and see what actually happened, but he has dropped himself all the way to 8th. You see Juho Brian starting to try and force their way through now, and it's 12th lap pit for both Charizard and for Jezza. Claus is going to stay out, and Claus is just going to build his lead even further. Well, it's now 3 or 4 corners after the second and third both pit on the same lap. We're going a little bit further up in this little battle. Lap 13, that's minimum in terms of laps that you have to do. And Cunning Fern has done an extremely good job on his tyres here. Get 13 out of this car on that medium tyre is a relatively good job. Might run out by the end of this one though. Should pit, and White Jumps is alright. Oh, and they've gone off! Oh, they've gone off. We're getting a pretty good look. We're going to go and get a pretty good look at this. Whack on the inside. Whack still just about alongside. Oh! Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, we need to get a very quick look, a different look at this one. Hopefully we get a nice little look down this straight. Yeah, Whack is... I don't think Whack is alongside enough to really be going for that. That's a bit overzealous. That is a bit overzealous there. And he's been made to pay for it. He's also made Dorak pay for it too. I can now understand why Wacker said that he didn't want me to watch his POV when it came to this race. You don't want to be doing that too often. And Claus is effectively an entire sector in the lead now. Albeit a couple of guys still have to pit, and Claus has no front left tyre at this point in the race. That is an incident and a half between Orak and Whack. You're not going to get away with very many of those. And then in comes Claus to the pit, so we'll see how close he is to Charizard and Jezza as they come out the pits. He comes out the pits and they go through their lap. And it looked like another lap here for Cunning Fern. So he's going to do 14 and then proceed to do 8 or 9 on the soft, depending on how many laps he believes he's going to get in. And pits for JMS, pits for Juho. Amy's going to follow in too. Fracas still has a ton of tyre left, actually. He's going to stay out one more. Orak into the pits. In comes Whack Jumps as well. Moose also trundling on in. Jezza, here we go. Jezza against Claus. Claus is out. Claus is out of that pit lane. He is well in front. He is still a long way in the lead. Long way in the lead. Also, you're P6 at this point in time. What the hell happened to you, Charizard? Wasn't that far off of Jezza, and now you are a mile and a half away. Also, Kutch on the new set of softs as well. He's currently in, well, net P3, I think. Depending on when Cunning Fern comes out. Albeit his tyres probably will survive just this lap. Probably have to go in at the end of it. Overfueling. Ah, right. That makes a lot more sense. This is the part of the race where we get to figure out where everyone is. Claude is still a mile and a half in the lead. You see the guys that are actually racing him in the background as we go along there. Kuch, Charizard, Juho. Oh, we've got a side-by-side here between Jin and JMS. Jin's done a pretty good job to get himself back into this race, but JMS is going to have a pretty good job on the outside here. If he can get this done, he is not getting it done against the BRD. Surprisingly, JMS is just stuck behind the BRD right now. And his sprint suggested that he might have been able to scurry through this pack rather quickly and maybe make a good day out of this, but it's not going back to him in this race whatsoever. Cunnington should be too far away from being out of the pits. He is coming out now, as JMS is going to come out as well. Where is Cunnington in all of this? Cunnington is still only just coming out the pits now. He's in 10th. He might have overfueled too. Obviously, I can't see the fuel. It'll only give me the track map. Charizard currently setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Well, fastest first sector of the race so far. 46.1 by Kuch is actually the fastest lap. As we're going to continue on, Claude is still a country mile in the lead of this race. So, unless something goes horribly wrong in the last 7 or 8 in this one, this should be game over. We very quickly switch to Jeddah, who is in himself extremely clear of Kuch. Must be 5 or 6 seconds down the road as they head into the middle of the 3rd sector. Charizard in 4th, Juho in 5th. We've got a little bit of a battle going on again between Jin and JMS. JMS on the outside this time. Maybe look for a little bit of a switchback. He's not going to be able to make that one stick. This in a little bit of an aggressive attempt there by JMS. Maybe a little bit of a tap on the back of the BRZ. Gets away with it though. The BRZ not really responding to it. JMS saves himself. I think Jin just about avoided a penalty there too. A 45.7 here for JMS. It looks like 45.2 for Claude, who's on fire right now. Mike Cunnington does hold the fastest, well, did hold the fastest lap in qualifying, is quicker than that 45.2 that has currently been done by Claude. Currently holds the fastest lap in this race. We're still watching this battle. The front four still separated by a hefty amount. Oh, Jin getting himself closing the door on JMS there. Things starting to get a little bit aggressive between the two of these guys. Also got Brian on the back of these two, trying to get himself involved. We'll wait and see if he can get himself involved. Juho has managed to make his way from, well, I would say he's from the back, but he did start around 5th. He is still currently 5th, but holding his own, I think, is probably the term I should use. It looks like a lot of anything's happening right now. JMS had a penalty. JMS had a penalty. That is not good news for him. Also, both the Supras going at it right now. I think Cunnington just passed Kakarai on the way up the hill. Maybe a coordinated team move, maybe not. Fracas, Wack, and Orak all involved in this at the moment. In this little train that we are currently watching. In terms of the race as a whole, probably not a lot. Monty all the way at the back, and yeah, something tells me he might need to move down again. It looks like here we've got these two battling it out the entire race. Also added Fracas into the mix now. And this time it's White jumps on Fracas. Is he going to be able to do anything on the inside? No, he isn't. 9-1. And I think that means that Watkins is going to have to wait probably another lap. Might have to get him through some corners, but that, well, both these cars don't have the greatest top line speed. If they're going to use, well, Watkins is going to use the slipstream to get himself alongside on the inside. Here, he had his fight against Orak, the car behind. This time, last time we watched him go through here, this time Fracas just backs out of it entirely and gives the position up to Watkins, who manages to make the corner just about. Orak directly behind this as well. Got a little bit of a battle. Between Moose and Monty. Yeah, Moose and Monty are not enjoying himself today at all. Moose has actually got damage. We're going to continue back to this group, but then possibly into the fight for third and fourth. I think that looks like. Claus is still 2 or 3 corners in the distance. He is well and truly away. Absolutely as dominant as you could possibly get for Claus through the first 17. Doesn't look like an awful lot of anything is happening here, so we're going to head down towards the middle of the pack here. Jin versus Brian. JMS has dropped himself a bit off the pace here. After winning the first race, I don't think this is how he expected his feature to go. Here comes Brian on the outside of the chicane. Is he going to pull alongside? He backs out wide, but rather wisely, I think, against Jin there. Not an awful lot of too wide in the chicane so far. To be fair, the only one I've seen that went too wide in the chicane so far has ended up in a crash. So, maybe for better or worse, that people do not go too wide in that chicane. And that looked like a little bit of grass being kicked up by the Gen X behind Jin here. Looking a bit further forward, Kuch versus Charizard. They're going to go down the straight, and Kuch does not go for it here, but Jin versus Brian. Brian will go for it on the outside this time. Can he get it on the outside? He can't get it on the outside. Too deep. Just too deep. The inside line, a far superior line through the end of the third sector, does just about enough to hold Jin in 6th position for this race. AMS just dropping off the back of this entirely, almost dropping back into the hand of 9th. Don't want to be touching the grass on the outside of the final corner too many times, I'll say that much. We've seen how this happens. 44.6 in this race so far for Claude is huge. We've still got these two battling. Anything further up? Nope. Charizard seems to have pulled away from Kuch as we go through the first sector here. Yeah, and the first two are gone unless there's a mistake in there somewhere. Brian's is not going to be able to get close enough to Jin here whatsoever, albeit he did just set a purple first sector. Jin's just going to hold on to this for now anyway. He looks to the inside. If he could have got a better run to the inside of the long right-hander, he might have been able to make something through the second sector, but he hasn't, and kicks up grass yet again on the outside there. I'll be doing that. The more you do that, the more you're wearing your tyres, the more heat you're putting through your tyres too, the more chance you've got of spinning. Also, down this straight, is he going to be close enough? He is going to try it. Again to the outside, Jin defends the inside rather smartly, but this time it's Gen X day. And Gen X, Brian is going to get himself way in front there. Gets himself to hang it round the outside and gets a nice little move in the process. In 5th, the next one up for Brian, if he can clear Jin sooner rather than later. Looks at Brian trying to break the toe. Jin realizes about 3/4 into the straight. That's probably a bit too late to do that. You get your one move, so it's not weaving. It doesn't look like an awful lot is going to happen here in Jin's favour, because he has JMS, the one that won the sprint, right up to the rear of his car now. We are 35 minutes through the 40 in this race. Claude is probably going to do 23. I'd be surprised if he did. Oh, that did not look great for Brian. It didn't look awfully great for Jin either, as JMS has a good run. Almost hits the back of Jin actually through the long right-hander and has to sit behind for a little bit longer. And we got a little bit of a group forming here. Amy also putting herself in with a shout of essentially 6th place, all 4. Oh, JMS in the grass! JMS is in the grass! That did not look good. He just went a bit too wide there and dropped another position in the process. It's been a house of horrors right now for JMS in this sprint race. And also, it turns out if you do well in the first sprint race, it's not done too good for you in the feature here in Tier 4. First, again off the track, dropping from what was like 5th at the it was 5th earlier on in this race down to 9th, and Watkins obviously with the incident with Orak is right at the tail end of this field. So yeah, good question. They're all over the place. The answer is they are very much all over the place. And also Conan Fern, yeah, also nowhere to be seen. It also looked like there may have been a penalty or two enforced. There it is. Jin went too deep. All 4 car tires off of the rumble strip, and in turn gets a 1.5 seconds. You just don't get away with that. We're now 37 minutes free from the end. 23 laps should be attainable. Also, Amy trying here has got no real grip to go after him. Go after Jin now. If Amy has got any common sense, she probably just sits tight and waits, or not. She goes to the inside there and gets the position anyway. That's a good move. But it is going to cause Jin to fight her back almost immediately, albeit Jin has a 1.5 second penalty, so that fight isn't going to last too long. So, will Amy now take advantage and try and go after Brian? We'll wait and see, but in front of us, we have a Juho versus Cooch. And Juho on the inside, Cooch gets that all wrong. Gets that all wrong on the inside there, and Juho is going to take 4th position off of him as a result. That did not look good for Amy in the background. The Finnish driver right now taking 4th. Charizard in the middle of nowhere, and he is in 3rd, but he's on his own. Same with Jezza, who's got to be 5 seconds ahead of Charizard, maybe a little bit more, and a year and a half away from Claude in the lead, who doesn't have tyres on his car anymore. That front left is gone. Fortunate for him, he's got to do 1 more lap after this. He will get to 23 rather comfortably. We're going to continue to take a look. It looks like Cooch has had a bit of a nightmare there through the first sector, and Juho has cleared him. Amy now against Brian's. She's going to look to the outside. Brian likes the inside in this line. We all know that by this point. It's going to keep the position. Amy doesn't go for it. Amy doesn't go for that. Maybe looking for a better run. Maybe looking for a better overtaking opportunity. We've seen him. Well, seen her, sorry. Try it. Yeah, that makes sense. We saw Amy try it this place on the last lap, and tried it again. This time against Brian, but not really able to make anything stick. Jin trying to catch himself back up to this after his 2.5 penalty, but probably wishing on a miracle at this point to catch these two up. Here comes Amy on the outside, but Amy's too far back to make a meaningful move. Unless she can make it nicely on the inside, but while she looked like she had a nice turn in, she didn't get a nice exit. And, well, if you don't get a nice exit, you really can't make the overtake. So, Actually, no one else is going to make it to lap 22. So Jeddah gets second. Charizard gets third. Juho gets fourth. Kucha's going to go over the line in fifth. Bryans is going to get sixth from Amy in the end. No one else over the line for a 23rd lap. Jin 8th, JMS in 9th. That's not a good day for the sprint winner. It's not a good day for sprint 3rd place or the sprint runner-up either. 9th, 10th and 11th respectively. Frackers gets 12th, Orak in 13th. Wack Jams has recovered a little bit better than him. Andy Kakarai into 14th over the line. Moose King is going to come over in 15th, and Monty is a year and a half back. As we're going to watch as everyone else's race is over. And Claude is going to take the rest of the lap and then as a victory lap for a absolutely convincing race. Absolute domination. This is as clean as easy as a race as Claude is ever going to get in his lifetime. It doesn't matter if he gets penalty at this point. It doesn't matter if he runs out of fuel. He's going to make the line. He's going to win the race. It's just a nice little victory lap. He gets to celebrate in front of everyone as he goes round second to last. Keeps it not relatively clean whatsoever. Just driving leisurely at this point as he goes round the final corner, and we watch the Nismo of Claus, not really a factor in the sprint, but wins the first feature here at Watkins Glen in Tier 4 and wins it in absolutely dominant fashion. It does not get any easier than that. One-way traffic served from the word go and deserved everything he got in that race. And that is everything that Tier 4 had to bring us for the first race of the season. A lot of chaos. Not as much in terms of incidents as I thought there would be. But everyone was just rather respectful in that race. And everyone, well, most people got out of that unscathed. You did well in that sprint. You did not do well in that feature. After all that, it was very well played in the end. But for now, until next Friday, for when I do our Sachet for Tier 4, possibly, I still might do the spec. I haven't decided yet. But for now, on Tier 4 front, goodbye.